Ever feel like you're always speaking, but never really being heard? Or that you're always busy, but something inside you feels completely absent? Welcome to the 20th pattern of change and evolution, and its shadow of superficiality. But not to worry, this isn't just a breakdown of a shadow. This is an invitation to return back to presence, to a kind of influence that doesn't come from noise, but from your stillness. Here is a parable to help understand this challenge. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. In a small village nestled between river and forest, there lived a boy named Tavin. He had a gift, a silver tongue. People would gather just to hear him speak. He made them laugh, cry, and dream. His stories were woven with rhythm and wit, and over time, the village began to depend on his voice. But something strange happened. The more he spoke, the less he felt. The more applause he received, the more empty he became. One day, an old woman approached him and asked, "When was the last time you said something you hadn't rehearsed?" Tavin laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" She pointed to his chest. "You've learned how to speak from your head, but you've forgotten how to listen from your soul." That night, Tavin climbed the hill overlooking the village and sat in silence for the first time in years. No words, no crowd, just wind, breath, and space. In that stillness, a different kind of voice began, not for others, but for himself. And from that day forward, when Tavin did not speak, the village was silent. Not out of awe, but because something inside them was listening too. This 20th challenge is often called the gate of now in human design. But ironically, those who carry this specific component in their charts often struggle to stay in the now. Instead, they are pulled by the noise of the world into performance, distraction, and an ever-looping fear of being unseen or misunderstood. The shadow here isn't malicious, it's protective. It tries to keep us safe by keeping us superficial. Because going deeper, that requires presence, stillness, and vulnerability. And presence is terrifying when you've been trained to survive through performance. The 34th shadow of force is the complementary shadow to that of superficiality. Its fear is that of vulnerability, and its repressive nature is self-effacing, and its reactive, bullish, and its dilemma of trying. So you can see how this shadow complements superficiality. Interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work. Over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign. So you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7 because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you will reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find the free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the wheel of evolutionary change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you are meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. The shadow psychology of this superficiality. Superficiality isn't about being fake. It's about being afraid to be real. The shadow can show up in two ways. The repressive, where we disappear into the background, afraid of being seen, or the reactive, where we dominate the room with our voice, always speaking, never listening. Both are rooted in the same wound, that if we don't, or if I don't stop performing, will I still matter? This 20th pattern of change is deeply tied to the fear of influence, either fearing you have none or fearing what will happen if you actually use it. It creates what Richard Rudd of the Gene Keys calls insect consciousness, a survival mode that loops through busyness, distraction, and mental noise to avoid deeper awareness. And yet, every time we perform instead of pause, we chip away at our own presence. The evolutionary challenge. From an evolutionary lens, this shadow performed to help us survive in tribes. Those who could speak clearly, led energetically, or stay out of sight were more likely to stay safe. But now, we're no longer surviving in forests. We're surviving in mental noise. And this superficiality doesn't just limit expression, it fragments conscious embodiment. You see, the body doesn't lie. It knows presence, it speaks silence. But when we're disconnected from the body, from the hara, the solar plexus center of awareness, we start living in loops of, quote, what should I do next? Instead of, quote, what am I actually feeling? Evolution is calling us to drop from the mind to the body, from performance to presence. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only place real transformation happens. The spiritual understanding. This 20th shadow exists to humble the ego. It tests our relationship with attention, applause, and appearance. But it's not trying to punish you. It's trying to refine us, to teach us the sacred art of timing. We are being invited to stop speaking from the surface and start resonating from the center. The gift of self-assurance only arises when one stops outsourcing one's value. And the grace of presence, that's not something you do. It's what remains when everything else falls silent. The presence is grace embodied. It doesn't seek the spotlight, but when it enters a room, the world adjusts its rhythm. So if you carry this specific challenge in your charts or resonate with this challenge in general, know this: the fear is not your enemy, it's the veil. And behind it is the grace, not the kind of grace you earn, the kind you remember when you stop trying to be anyone else but who you are here in the now. In the next video, I'll be going into the shadow of control and the fear of truly living, and how the submissive and controlling dynamic affects our psyche. Please don't hesitate to like or subscribe to this content. Down below in the description, you'll also find more information about this shadow, as well as email address to contact me for a free 45-minute consultation. I also host 3 meetup groups on the meetup platform: Divination Systems, where I talk more about these shadow challenges and how to transmute them. The next one is Emotional Intelligence and Mastery. And lastly, Emotional Trauma Release Group. But if you feel like you're kind of tired of social connections and social media platforms and you feel saturated by them and you just want to be able to get access to the content, you can also go to my archive on my website, and there you can find links directly to find those resources. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. I look forward to continue to providing more content to help you transmute your shadows and integrate them. God bless you on your journey. Namaste, and good life to you all.